Hebrews 11, verse 21. By faith, Jacob, when he was dying, blessed each of Joseph's sons and worshipped as he leaned on the top of his staff. Okay, so in the previous video, we talked about Isaac blessing his two sons, Esau and Jacob. And now we see that Jacob is blessing Joseph's sons and worshiping as he leans on the top of his staff. Let's read about it. Genesis 48. Sometime later, Joseph was told, "Your father is ill," so he took his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, along with him. When Jacob was told, "Your son Joseph has come to you," Israel rallied his strength and sat up on the bed. Jacob said to Joseph, "God Almighty appeared to me at Luz in the land of Canaan, and there he blessed me and said to me, 'I'm going to make you fruitful and increase your numbers. I will make you a community of peoples, and I will give this land as an everlasting possession to your descendants after you. Now then, your two sons born to you in Egypt before I came to you here will be reckoned as mine. Ephraim and Manasseh will be mine, just as Reuben and Simeon are mine. Any children born to you after them will be yours. In the territory they will be reckoned under the names of their brothers. As I was returning from Padan, to my sorrow, Rachel died in the land of Canaan while we were still on the way, a little distance from Ephrath. So I buried her there beside the road to Ephrath, that is Bethlehem. When Israel saw the sons of Joseph, he asked, 'Who are these?' 'They are the sons God has given me,' Joseph said to his father. Then Israel said, 'Bring them to me so I may bless them.' Now Israel's eyes were failing because of old age, and he could hardly see. So Joseph brought his sons close to him, and his father kissed them and embraced them. Israel said to Joseph, 'I never expected to see your face again, and now God has allowed me to see your children too.' Then Joseph removed them from Israel's knees and bowed down with his face to the ground. And Joseph took both of them, Ephraim on his right, toward Israel's left hand, and Manasseh on his left, toward Israel's right hand, and brought them close to him. But Israel reached out his right hand and put it on Ephraim's head, though he was the younger, and crossing his arms, he put his left hand on Manasseh's head. Okay, that's like, sometimes we read that, we don't realize like how much intention is going on there. Like he crossed his arms. He went to a lot of effort to do this, even though Manasseh was the firstborn. And then he blessed Joseph and said, "May the God before whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac walked faithfully, the God who has been my shepherd all my life to this day, the angel who has delivered me from all harm, may he bless these boys. May they be called by my name and the names of my fathers Abraham and Isaac, and may they increase greatly on the earth." Okay, so we get the names Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. When Joseph saw that his father placing his right hand on Ephraim's head, he was displeased. So he took hold of his father's hand to move it from Ephraim's head to Manasseh's head. And Joseph said to him, "No, my father, this one is the firstborn. Put your right hand on his head." But his father refused and said, "I know, my son, I know. He too will become a people, and he too will become great. Nevertheless, his younger brother will become greater than he, and his descendants will become a group of nations." He blessed them that day and said, "In your name will Israel pronounce this blessing. May God make you like Ephraim and Manasseh." So he put Ephraim ahead of Manasseh. Then Israel said to Joseph, "I am about to die, but God will be with you and take you back to the land of your fathers. And to you I give one more ridge of land than to your brothers, the ridge I took from the Amorites with my sword and my bow." In the previous chapter, we saw that there was actually deception, right? That Jacob actually stole Esau's blessing. And we see that Isaac believed. He believed so much that blessing would come true and that blessing was real. It wasn't just some cutesy thing that he was doing. But he said, it's irrevocable. I can't change it. And even then, he spoke over his son Esau, speaking a word that was not so great. It wasn't really something you'd want to receive. But it was attributed to Isaac that he had faith because he truly believed that those blessings would come true. He had that understanding. And so here you have this blessing that Jacob is giving to Joseph's sons, and he is crossing his arms because he knows which one's supposed to receive it and which one's not. So he not only believes in the blessing, but he also knows which one is to receive it and which is not. He's not going by a list of rules. How does that work in your life? I'm just thinking about some of the things that God has had me doing. that have not really made sense to other people. You know, I talked to my realtor this morning, and God has been very specific about what it is that he's going to give me. In fact, weeks ago, he had me speak it to him. He asked me to speak it to him. And so when I spoke with my realtor this morning, I didn't budge. And I even said to him, God has already told me what I am to do. So there won't be any budging. This is a person who claims, by the way, to be religious, to be a Jew. God's going to reveal his glory. You know, I know that God has intentions on revealing his glory to every single person who's watching. And I have stood in that. I know that he's going to do it. And it is going to bear witness to this realtor because that's his industry. I said to him, I don't do business on Sabbath, so that's the one day that you can't be calling me. I won't be calling you back, except for the holy days, except for the new moons and everything else. So he knows that language. But he said to me, I'm Jewish, but I don't observe Sabbath. Okay, you're going to see the glory of God. He's going to see the glory of God. This is what it means to be an offering, you guys. You have to understand that when you're suffering, that it's not always just about you. It's about other people. It's about what God is going to reveal through your offering to other people. You can't just make it about you. It's not all about you. Does not the world do that? Don't they do that? Indulge themselves week after week in therapy. All me, 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 me. This life is all about me. God's just chasing me, me, me around. No, God is using me right now as an offering to you, as an offering to the assembly, as an offering to my children, as an offering to this realtor, as an offering to other people. And as far as I know, there were no sacrifices who were not slain. So it's not going to be comfortable. In my weakness, he's made great. His power is revealed. And I want his power to be revealed in every single way. And I knew when I was speaking with my realtor this morning, and he said, are you going to come down? Are you going to do this? Are you going to do that? I knew that God did not want me to budge on a single thing, that he does not want anyone being able to boast and say it happened because of this. It happened because, you changed course and you decided to come down on the price, or you decided to, there's other things that he's gotten very creative on that I've said absolutely not. I know the criteria that I spoke. I know the criteria that he asked me to speak, because I don't tell God what to do. He asked me, you tell me what you want. And I know that he's going to fulfill every single thing, and that I need to believe that, and I need not get scared and say, well, we have a buyer right now. No, I'm not going to do that. I can't do that. How can I compromise him like that? When you say you stand in faith and then you waver and you take it back, what you've done is just profaned his name. You've done the opposite of glorify him. You've done the opposite of be used for his glory. And how can I say I'm his? This is not for me. This is for him. This is not about me. This is about him. And I'm not going to sell him short. And I'm not going to uncross my arms, so to speak, in order to go by human rules of blessing the older before the younger. No, I'm going to follow the instructions of God and what he tells me to do. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be brought low and further to the wall so that his power and his glory will be known. I believe in the promises of God, and that's what that looks like. And I want to tell you something else. There was something that I corrected on a video, something that I corrected in the body with regard to people kind of setting up their experience and, trying to say, oh, I know what you're going through because I'm going through this. It's the same what I'm going through is the same as what you're going through. People like to use the language we. We's a big word, guys. But you know what? When it comes down to it, some people have had their mouths closed when they couldn't take God's Sabbath off in order to obey him. Where's the we? And I don't say that to make fun of you, but I say that to demonstrate that God is going to put you in a position to put your faith where your mouth is. The faith that you're claiming, oh, I'm doing the same thing as you, Carrie Ann. Yep, we're just two peas in a pod, aren't we? Do you remember when the mother brought the two sons to Jesus and said, I want one on your left and one on your right? And what did Jesus say? Are you prepared to drink of the cup that I'm going to drink from? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Easy peasy, right? Oh, yeah, we're doing the same thing as you. Don't big talk, guys. Humble yourselves. This is why I've asked you to stand with me. I've asked you to step into the experience that I'm going through right now, because I know that a lot of you are not in that place yet, but that God will use my experience right now. He doesn't bring grief willingly, but he will use my experience to help build you, to help you understand what God's servants actually are doing. Don't go around in idle chatter saying that you're doing the same thing that God's servants are doing, because he will make he will embarrass you. He will expose you. There's some people that are awful quiet right now. And I think for good reason, because he exposed what's actually in your heart. And maybe you didn't know it was in your heart. And that's okay. But you need to look at it now. You need not be setting yourself up as doing the same thing as his servants. We is a big word. Let yourself be built. Give yourself time to be built by God. That counterfeit Christian idea that you're just somehow anointed and you just have some gift that you just have to discover, it's not true. That is not the reality. And if you're reading the word, you will see that God's servants are brought very, very low. And you need some time to figure out if you're in this, like if you want that, because it is not comfortable. I'm like, God is having to wipe me off the floor. That's how far against the wall I am right now. Like the air's being pushed out of my lungs. I mean, you got to understand that part of the reason I'm reading these stories to you is because I'm trying to stand. So please take some time, humble yourself, and take some time to really let him build you and let him show you what his servants are doing. It's okay that you're not there, but don't pretend that you are, because it is incredibly insulting. All right, please discern what I've said with God.